So this week was a pretty critical milestone. We finally got the drywall. We got the inspection passed that all of our electrical, mechanical, and plumbing in-wall is good to go. So we got a California drywall company out here to do all of our drywall. And it was sort of a, this is my therapy session, so I'm going to go into therapy-related things. But it's sort of a strange milestone because it's kind of like you can never see the house the same way again. Because before yesterday, everything was still bare. You could still see all the wood of the walls. You could see the wires going through the studs. And it was a very different feeling of the house. And it was scary personally because it's the last chance you have to really go through and make sure everything's in its right place. Because once you go drywall, you can't go back.
You can fill it out. Yeah. So you might.
I basically responded to the team-wide call for help because normally I do office work. But I think the biggest thing was basically cleaning the house. So on Thursday, the drywallers came. So that basically just meant that we had to get everything out of the house, right? And so there was just a lot of stuff that had built up because we're not the cleanest people. Also just because, like, as Derek would say, like, it's kind of nice to have a messy house because it's like, oh, you need that tool, like, why it's just lying on the floor over there, right? But then, like, once the drywallers come, they're gonna be kicking all those things. So, like, we basically cleaned the house, and, like, by the end of Wednesday, it was the cleanest I had ever seen it.
Yeah, so it's one of those things in construction where you just have to get it done. You have no choice. If tomorrow the drywallers are coming at 7 a.m., then no matter how long it takes, you have to get these things, your checklist done. We typically have half the people on our team working on the construction site during the day and then half of them working in the office. But for that last day before drywall, we said everybody out, all hands on deck. And even after that, a couple of us still had to stay until about 8:30 to finish to basically make sure that all the stuff in wall was as we wanted it to be.
When they deliver the drywall, they just plop it right in front of our house, right? And they have like all the different types, like the green board and like the cement board and all, like whatever it was, right? And then like we all had to move it to the back of the deck. And so like the assembly line thing that we were like moving it, and I was just like I didn't realize how something that thin could be so heavy, because I guess it's just ridiculously dense.
Yesterday, the drywall guys came. We showed them basically these walls will have sheetrock, these won't, and then they are like the fastest drywallers I've ever seen in my life. They just like threw it up, just two guys over the span of 2 days, and it was scary because all around me suddenly the house was changing, and you can never really see it the same way again. I personally was very, very concerned about wiring, because typically if you have wire running behind the wall, if it's too close to where the drywall is coming in, you might actually accidentally nick a wire as you're screwing the drywall in. And it's especially difficult for us with our SIP panels because you have no idea what's happening in the foam behind the wall. So in the last minute, maybe I'm just like a little too risk averse, but I went in and actually spray painted everywhere where wires were so that the drywallers would know. Because I mean, they've never done a house like this before.
There are certain moments in building the house where like you kind of realize like, wow, this is like actually happening, right? And so like earlier, like spring quarter, like over spring break, one of those moments was when the roof went on for the first time, when like because then you could actually see the vault and it wasn't just flat walls anymore. And it was like, wow, like I can actually, and then when the drywall went in, it's like, wow, you can't see through beams anymore. There's no more plywood, it's just drywall. And then when the solar panels come on, it's like, wow, like this will actually be like a sustainable house. Like we're using a freaking metal roof, right? So that was really cool.
Yesterday was the first day that we actually got up on the roof and started installing clips for the solar panels. So there's these little tiny pieces that clip onto the part of the roof that kind of sticks up a little bit. And those are actually going to hold the solar panels together and kind of like put them into a nice organized order. And that way we can put them all together, put them in series, parallel, to make sure that we get the right voltage that we need. And then feed that down into the core so that it could be energy we can use in the house. The thing that's going to harm you in terms of working with solar panels is the current. So if you grab onto a wire with two hands, you're giving the electricity the chance to go through your body. But we are taking extra precautions. We're wearing these lovely garments that are flame-proof. We wear 2 sets of gloves, a pair of rubber gloves underneath a set of leather gloves. We also have some shoes that are super sturdy, and I believe they're steel-toed boots. So there's a good metal piece in the front, so you're not going to stub your toe walking around on this metal roof.
Basically what we could do yesterday was locate where the panels would be, install those clips, and then we got one panel up as sort of like, we have to at least get that much done. But then we should be moving very quickly at this point, and in a safe fashion as well, so it should be fun. The roof will suddenly look very, very sexy. And then I'm just sitting there shimming my way down the roof, and it's pretty fun and pretty quick. And then I could sort of hear the drywall happening under my butt too, which is kind of interesting.